So the breaking news of last week, and again, not much breaking news for anybody who's been following the story, is that the federal judge out of the federal court in Texas, or I guess it's
the bankruptcy court,
the bankruptcy court, has authorized or indicated they will authorize the breaking up and the auctioning off of the assets of InfoWars and the parent company, which Alex Jones wholly owns, come November. One detail which I want to get clarity on is that the judge said he wants to specify to correct or at least clarify in a prior order that the plaintiffs would retain, the plaintiffs would control the trustee, or at least would have the title to the assets. Did I understand that they wanted to maintain ownership, ensure that the trustee had the ownership over the Alex Jones's parent company? I think we knew that this was going to happen, in that there's no suspending the execution of the order pending the appeal. They were trying to structure a deal which they obviously couldn't get done, or nobody wanted to get done. And how does it come to be? Like, who's petitioning for this, and what's it going to mean for the long term for Alex Jones, even if he wins on the appeal? Let's assume he doesn't win on the appeal, liquidate and kill off all the assets, or sell off. It does not include Alex Jones's personal social media for the time being, his personal voice, his likeness, etc. So he could, in theory, have some flexibility on a going forward basis.
Yeah, and InfoWars has no contract with Alex Jones, to my knowledge. I saw no reference to it in the bankruptcy court proceedings. All you have is a copyright, a web domain, and studio space. Don't even own the property; it's leased. So, I mean, it's really small. Well, what's there, to be honest about it? So what they're auctioning off is the name InfoWars, the web domains associated with that are owned by InfoWars. It's not crystal clear which ones are necessarily owned by InfoWars, but for the time being, assume that's all InfoWars related web domains. And the only thing of value is, the cameras in the studios, the physically owned video recording and broadcasting equipment, some computers, some desks. So, it's not a lot. There's some cool posters, some cool images in there. That's about it. And so its value is not that high. And the issue then is who would come in and bid on it. Roger Stone is putting together an investment group to bid on it. Once they own it, then they would be owned free of the debt, right? They're buying the assets free of the debt obligation. The whatever they pay will go into the bankruptcy estate to be distributed accordingly. But that's it. And it's, that's not it. Who else is going to come in and bid? Who has value on the InfoWars brand if Alex Jones isn't affiliated with it? To be honest with you, that's probably not worth a whole lot. The same with the web domains. If Alex Jones isn't there, probably not worth a whole lot. All you're really getting is cameras and studio build out. Well, who's going to use it? Who necessarily needs that build out in that particular kind of space? So, that's subject to a lease. You don't own the building. Could you physically remove the studios? I mean, its main value is at that location. So, the cameras, unless somebody comes in and bids for it, surprisingly, I would think that Roger Stone's group is probably in a good position to purchase it. And Stone's already announced his intention is to keep it as InfoWars, and hope that Alex stays on board.
Even if it were to be bought for full value, let's just say the full cost, it'd be what, $10-15 million.
That'd be a very, very high estimation.
But
its value is unique. Its value is to Alex Jones, and since Alex Jones can't bid for it, its value to anybody else is a lot less. So you get into these situations with distinct, unique property valuations, where something has one valuation. It's like people who've been historically on a farm. The value to them is very different than the value of a bank for foreclosing on it and trying to sell. And so that's their hurdle, is the probability they get a big valuation on it is low, and the probability somebody else comes in and bids a whole bunch of money to do what? To just own the brand? I mean, buy some cameras?
No, well, let's just even say that there's some vengeful person out there who put together their own pool and says, we just want to buy it to shut it down. But my point is only, let's just assume
what are they shutting down? Oh, they did the domains? I mean, whoop-de-doo.
Well, that was my question. Is like, let's just say they get full value on the dollar. They sell it for 15 million. Good. They're killing the business. Like, there will be no more InfoWars generating revenue for the purposes of satisfying any judgment. That's I'm not
unless
mistaken.
Alex Jones is part of it, right? That's exactly. I mean that's why it's best. The best situation for the plaintiffs is if somebody comes in that's sympathetic to Alex Jones to keep InfoWars on the air. The plaintiffs' lawyers have been sabotaging their own clients by setting up a situation whereby their clients may get pennies on the dollar because of their own bad tactical and strategic decisions. They should have taken that very generous settlement offer, which I believe what's been published is over $50 million. That was because Jones was willing to pay him off over time and through 20 years of being on the air in the future. Now that option is no longer there for them. It's just not there. Them going to this stage means they've completely failed their clients, completely sabotaged their clients. And if their goal was to shut down InfoWars, that too probably will fail. Either because somebody sympathetic buys it and Jones decides to stay on board, or because Jones is no longer associated with it, in which case it won't produce much income. So, that's the problem. They're selling off the assets, and those assets will then be owned free and clear. I don't know whether the domain names are included within that. I don't know if copyright is included within that. Jones has very limited copyright assets. Jones has deliberately forfeited copyright his entire career. He has said there's no copyright on anything I produce or publish or broadcast. You're free to copy. He used to do DVDs. Like, you're free to copy those and share them with your friends. I don't care. You're free to download them off the internet, share them with whoever you want, because he only cared about the message. So typically, somebody that's had the inventory he has had that would be its big value. But there is no copyrighted inventory because he didn't do this for any reason related to the suit. He's done this his entire career because he cares more about the message than the money.
And not just that, it's not even any longer on platforms that are monetized like YouTube. I mean, it's on Rumble. It's not on YouTube anyhow, where there would be no royalties.
Yeah. By the way, thanks to the plaintiffs' lawyers.
Yep.
The plaintiffs' lawyers were the ones that got him kicked off of YouTube, and then complained about his lack of access to his archives on YouTube that YouTube deleted at their request, by which a judge declared a default judgment for. They've done everything possible to sabotage their own clients. It's one long litany of legal malpractice. The plaintiffs' lawyers in those cases, they continue to harass people. Mark Bankston is a nut job. One of the lead plaintiffs' lawyers. My joke about him that the Austin press used to get a kick out of, well, they said, the way he got his law degree is he got a free ticket to the nut house, and the Uber driver accidentally dropped him off at law school. That's who this guy is. And he's sabotaged his clients over and over and over and over again. During the brief period of time in which I was appearing in the case, he was busy spreading smear campaigns to local press, trying to get me kicked off of the case, trying to do all kinds of things. The guy's a nut job and a lunatic who has sabotaged his clients, and his clients should sue him and his law firm into oblivion for all the legal malpractice he's caused. Same with the Connecticut law firm, which is one of the most politically connected law firms in the country. They too have deliberately sabotaged their own clients to empower their political agenda, who they used to do the whole thing. One of their lead witnesses, plaintiffs, admitted on the stand he'd helped orchestrate the whole case, and he had nothing to do with Sandy Hook except show up as an FBI guy. Is that really a coincidence, given what not James O'Keefe, but another undercover group using James O'Keefe tactics had a guy who worked at the CIA and elsewhere said that they helped orchestrate the Alex Jones case. The whole point was always to kick him off the air and cut him off from his audience. Both have failed and will continue to fail.
Let me bring this up. This was what I was trying to paraphrase before. The U.S. Bankruptcy Judge Lopez, he said he'll approve the auctions to start in November, but he said he first must change a previous order to make it clear that the trustee overseeing Jones's personal bankruptcy case controls all the assets of InfoWars' parent company, Free Speech Systems, which is owned by Jones 100%.
That's solely to make it so that he has the power to auction it off. But all those assets, like I said, the only assets that I've seen referenced are just the copyright of the name InfoWars, and there'd be an issue about how copyrightable that name even is because of its colloquial use. What Jones has done is put them in conflict with their own clients. It's like, if you want actual compensation, I'll arrange that for you. And they've at every turn have said, no, 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 we want to shut you down.
Yeah, well, that's the lawyer saying it in theory for and on behalf of their clients, who now are going to not see a penny of whatever was the 40, 50 million over however many years. They're going to see nothing. They'll see pennies on the dollars for the studio. 2 questions. One is from Rumble. I can't bring them up, so I'm just going to have to see. It says Equal says, are all the appeals for Alex, have they been reached? What about the summary judgment, the exceptionally high fine? So no, he's
all of these judgments may ultimately be thrown out anyway. So that's why they had a great opportunity to get a settlement without risking losing on appeal. A legally honest Texas Supreme Court will absolutely toss the verdict. A legally honest Connecticut Supreme Court will do the same. The big question is whether he will get a legally honest court in his cases, because so far he has not.
And over on YouTube, X_SSFD says, isn't there a stipulation that they're able to seize his income above a certain amount? This we've talked about, but
sure, but he can decide how much he works for.
Right? What I mean, roughly, it's
what they never understood is money was never his motivation. The message was always the motivation. So they thought if they took away the money, they would take away the message. He never cared about the money. If he cared about the money, he would have copyrighted his own materials like everybody else does. This is a guy that is literally, it would probably be worth tens of millions of dollars, his inventory. He asserted copyright over none of it his entire life for the last 25 years. The old videos a few months before 9/11, where he's talking about they're probably going to try to bring some planes, crash into some buildings, and blame it on Osama bin Laden, right? Some of that would have unique market value. He never cared. They always misread him. He was never about money. If he was about money, he keeps his mouth shut about 9/11, and he replaces Rush Limbaugh. He's a natural entertainer. He's the best, most successful talk radio host in America, not named Rush Limbaugh. And yet he turned down that easy path to cash by asserting what he believed to be true about 9/11. So, the guy's never been money driven. He's always been message driven. Money has just been a means to get the message out. The message was never a means to make the money. And because they never understood that, and never appreciated that, they never realized their strategy could never work.
All right. And so it does look like it's going to proceed come November. Do you think that there's any chance that this is to pressure a settlement with the families, or is that no longer even feasible?
Well, this is just regular bankruptcy protocol. And it was just up to the family's counsel to take the settlement, because if it went through the regular protocol, they would end up with next to nothing. And that's what's going to happen.